Chapter 53 Making the Deal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You kid won't have any crooked ideas again. Green Man also gave Lin Feng a blank look and said angrily. When Lin Feng heard this, he twitched the corner of his mouth, and then said, if my plan succeeds, then there will be no need to fight, but it may waste a little more time. White Fang nodded lightly and said, then do as you say, but be quick, otherwise, when the leaders of the 8 tribes arrive, the strange fire may not be able to be saved. It's too lazy to care about that much, so it's best if it doesn't get involved. Now, it just wants a safe place to recover. Seeing this, Lumen nodded and agreed. Okay, if that's the case, you two must show your support for me no matter what I say. Okay. X2. If you were together before, I really wouldn't be able to do anything about it, but now, it's better to obediently hand over the strange fire. Medusa's snake tail swayed slightly, and she said as if she was sure of victory. While speaking, a trace of luck flashed in his eyes. If the snake hadn't coveted her beauty, it would have had no defense when she approached. She was also unable to successfully attack him in a sneak attack and seriously injured him at a relatively weak cost. Otherwise, White Fang at full strength, plus the 6-star Dou Huang woman. If she fights 1 against 2, she really may not have any advantage. You snake people have cold attributes, so you can't absorb the strange fire. Lin Feng poked his head out from behind Baiya and said with a smile. This has nothing to do with you. You just need to hand over the strange fire to me immediately. Glancing at Lin Feng, Medusa waved her hand lazily. I once accidentally saw a piece of news about the queen of the snake tribe in an ancient book. It said that when Queen Medusa reaches the peak of fighting the Emperor, if there is enough opportunity, she can have a strange evolution. After the evolution, Queen Medusa can not only freely transform into a human body, but also have the strength to be promoted to a powerful dozong as if it were a matter of course. However, the success rate of this evolution seems to be quite low, and, most importantly yes, what is necessary for this kind of evolution is strange fire. At this point, Lin Feng paused, grinned and said, I think that Her Majesty the Queen still refused to retreat after seeing the powerful Dou Huang. This must be the reason why she wanted to evolve with the help of strange fire, right? What? She actually wants to evolve through strange fire, must she be crazy? After hearing what Lin Feng said, Whiteya was suddenly a little stunned and said in horror, although it knows about evolution, the success rate of this kind of evolution is really pitifully low. If one fails, the only result will be to be completely burned into nothingness by the strange fire. Moreover, once this matter starts, it will be a failure, and there will be no way out. Therefore, it had not thought about this before. Now that he heard about evolution, White Fang instantly understood why Medusa was so obsessed with strange fire. Hee. Medusa sneered and her expression changed slightly. The eyes full of charm stared at Lin Feng tightly, with a cold air lingering in them, and he said softly, I didn't expect you to know these things. It really surprises me. I was just lucky and accidentally discovered it while reading. Lin Feng rolled his eyes slightly and continued, Her Majesty the Queen just wants to use the strange fire to evolve, not absorb it. There is no need for us to fight to the death. Instead, I will lend the strange fire to Her Majesty the Queen to evolve. After that, we only need to how about giving me a 6th level beast fire, 2 volumes of 5th level prescriptions, and items that can lift your seal from Her Majesty the Queen as compensation for the loss of strange fire energy. Glancing at Lin Feng on Baiya's back, he chuckled and said, it's not that great. You are quite good at calculating, but if I snatch it over now, wouldn't it be the same? If Her Majesty the Queen really wants to do this, then we will definitely not be able to sit back and wait for death. If we try our best to blow ourselves up, I believe we can still keep Her Majesty the Queen here forever. After that, will the snake people be wiped out by all forces? Then it's hard to say. Green Man and Whiteya on both sides couldn't help but roll their eyes at Lin Feng when they heard his words. How long has it been? And I'm still thinking of knocking on the snake tribe. But he also stepped forward very cooperatively, as if he really obeyed Lin Feng's orders, and was ready to die together with Medusa. Queen. Huaxia was also anxious when she heard that she might lose Medusa. although it is possible to lose Medusa through evolution, it is also possible to be promoted to the Dou zone, thus reaping a lot of benefits for the snake people, but if, given the choice, Medusa still dies together with the two fighting emperors in front of her, then her death will be worthless and extremely uneconomical. Shut up. Seeing this situation, Medusa was also agitated. Since she didn't know what Lin Feng's identity was, she now thought that Lin Feng was a disciple of a high-ranking member of the Sky Snake Mansion, while White Fang and Green Man were his followers. Seeing that Lin Feng wanted this man and the snake to die together with her, for a while, she was a little afraid to act rashly. After all, two 6-star fighting emperors self-destructed at the same time, how could they be so easy to catch? She was not sure about it in her heyday, not to mention that now she has suffered some injuries. After carefully considering Lin Feng's proposal for a while, I felt that it was feasible. She didn't want to fight with the two fighting emperors unless it was absolutely necessary, but she definitely couldn't agree to Lin Feng's big asking price just now. After thinking for a long time, the red lips slightly opened and said, I can accept a 5th level beast fire and 2 volumes of 4th level medicine prescriptions, but it is not possible to unseal it. After all, the people I sealed are all masters. After unsealing, that person will. What should I do if the snake tribe comes to cause trouble? That when Lin Feng heard this, he smiled and said, Your Majesty, don't worry. I just had no choice but to help that person remove the seal for some reasons. I didn't say anything else. Her Majesty can leave some means of control. In this way, if you cause trouble again, Her Majesty the Queen will be able to control it. When Medusa heard this, she thought it was feasible and left some means for herself. If that person dares to come again, he will go to the west just once and solve the trouble completely. Thinking of this, he nodded and agreed. Then according to the conditions I just met, plus my energy that can unblock it. Hearing Medusa's conditions, Lin Feng took Green Man and White Fang into consideration and did not dare to delay any longer. He nodded and said, Yes, but I ask Her Majesty the Queen to let me choose the prescription. Row. Upon hearing Lin Feng's agreement, Medusa's frowning eyebrows softened and she agreed to the request. Green Man and White Fang also breathed a sigh of relief. This matter was finally resolved. Lin Feng was also glad that Medusa didn't know about his relationship with Green Man and White Fang. In addition, she was injured in the previous battle with White Fang, otherwise, it would not have been so easy. Thank you all for your monthly votes and recommendation votes. If possible, please vote for the author, thank you. Chapter 54 Snake Tribe Treasure House. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I also ask the two seniors to protect me from completing this transaction. If I am alone, I am afraid that Medusa will immediately regret it. Seeing that Medusa's side had been resolved, Lin Feng said softly. When White Fang heard this, he just had to wait for Medusa to evolve, and there was no risk, and it just happens to be able to rest peacefully in the snake tribe. As long as it is there, it can recover well without worrying about being attacked by anyone, including the snake people. After all, if it is provoked, after a few attacks, the snake people can defeat most of them. Think of this. White Fang nodded the huge snake head and said in a low voice, No problem, I happen to need a safe place to recuperate. You come with me. Seeing that her goal was achieved, Medusa's attitude softened a lot. After speaking, she turned around and returned to the snake people. Whoosh! At this moment, with a few soft sounds, 7 men and 1 woman all used their fighting energy to transform into wings and shot out from a distance. You damn snake, you were beaten so badly by Her Majesty the Queen last time, yet you dare to come and cause trouble to our snake tribe this time. As soon as he saw White Fang, Mobas, who had the hottest temper among the 8 leaders of the snake people, couldn't help but said angrily. Hey, you little black snake, if you fight alone, believe it or not, even if I am injured now, I can replace the leader of your black snake tribe. When he saw someone coming up to fight, White Fang would naturally not be polite and immediately retorted, Mobas, #@%#. Your Majesty, are you okay? Compared with Mobas, Inshur and Yueme were much more stable. They didn't pay attention to the two sides who were quarreling, but asked Medusa. They have been with Medusa for so long, so they can naturally feel it. At this time, Medusa's breath was disordered, and she was obviously injured. It's okay. These are the guests I invited the Hui people to come. No one is allowed to harm them. Medusa waved her hands and then said to several people. Yes. X7. Although Insure and Yume were surprised, they didn't say much. What? Mobas couldn't believe it and said hurriedly, Queen, this snake was, before. Shut up, I said they were guests, that's all. Seeing that Mobas actually dared to disobey her in front of outsiders, Medusa frowned. A peak Do Huang aura suddenly pressed against Mobas, making the latter unable to move and not daring to say anything more. Let's go. After dealing with the thorn head, the beautiful figure of Medusa suddenly disappeared and flew towards the snake people. White Fang and Green Barbarian also quickly followed up, leaving only the leaders of the 8 major tribes to stay where they were, looking at each other. Your Majesty, you can't. Although the ancient books say that you can evolve, the failure rate is too high. If something happens to you, our snake people will be in trouble. In the snake tribe temple, Medusa waited until she told the leaders about evolution. The souls of several major leaders were almost frightened, and they all tried to dissuade him. I have made my decision. You should act immediately to collect the things that this king needs for his evolution. Medusa, who had already decided long ago, naturally would not listen to their suggestions, waved her hands and said impatiently. It's you, isn't it? You must be the one who tempted the queen to take such a risk. Seeing Medusa's appearance, Mobas poured his firepower on Lin Feng and others. Lin Feng hurriedly stopped Baiya, who wanted to confront him, and stepped forward. He said to Medusa on the throne, Your Majesty the Queen, you know best who wants to evolve. Our deal is only about the alien fire. No matter whether you evolve successfully or not, we will take the alien fire with you. The fire left. The appearance of your men now makes us feel scared. If you can't make the decision, then we have no need to trade, lest there will be a conflict and destroy your snake people. If you can, it's up to you to make the decision. You don't need to say anything, I already know it. Seeing that Lin Feng was dragging the snake people, Medusa directly interrupted Lin Feng's words. If Lin Feng hadn't been a high-ranking disciple of the Tianxi mansion and a young fighting master dared to talk to her like this, she would have turned him into a pulp. However, she was so annoyed that she lost her patience and shouted angrily at Mobas, If you say one more word, I will let you experience the punishment of 10,000 snakes eating the body. Then, I thought of Moba's bad temper. He was worried that if she failed to evolve, this idiot would come into conflict with the 2 fighting emperors, Green Man and White Fang. As a result, the snake people suffered unnecessary harm. He said to the other 7 leaders and Hua Xier, If this king really fails to evolve, it has nothing to do with them. Give them the strange fire and let them leave on their own. If Mobas dares to cause trouble, you will kill him. Take it and punish it by being eaten by 10,000 snakes. Yes, Queen. The others were much calmer. Knowing that they could no longer persuade Medusa, they stopped talking and accepted the order. At the same time, he also knew that if there was a conflict with these 2 fighting emperors, still on their own territory, the snake people will definitely not end well. Now, you can give the strange fire to me. Medusa looked at the ring in Lin Feng's hand that might contain the Qinglian Earth Heart Fire, and asked. Lin Feng cupped his hands and said, Don't worry, Your Majesty, when you evolve, I will naturally bring out the strange fire. Hearing this, Medusa frowned slightly, but thinking that there were several people around her, she couldn't run away. He stopped asking and looked at Yume below and said, Yume, go and talk to the Flame King Snake and let it give us a piece of beast fire, and then give it some compensation. Yes. Yume Man bent her waist slightly and replied, then turned and left. Then, Medusa threw another token to Hua Xier and said, Take that boy to the treasure house, and then he can choose 2 volumes of 4th-grade prescriptions. Hua Xier received the token respectfully, then looked at Lin Feng and said, Follow me. Lin Feng nodded, and immediately handed Qing Lin his Na ring containing the strange fire. After that, he followed Hua Xier and left. After walking for a while, the 2 came to the underground not far from the temple. There is a stone library made entirely of black stone. Hua Xier came to the door, raised the token, and shouted, By the Queen's order, come and receive the items. Boom! As the words fell, the stone door slowly opened. Let's go. Hua Xier turned around and said something to Lin Feng, then took the lead into the stone warehouse. Lin Feng nodded and hurriedly followed. Coming inside, Lin Feng discovered that there were a large number of wooden shelves inside the stone warehouse. The wooden frame is filled with various items. While walking forward, the body is slightly closer to the wooden frame on one side. Looking carefully, there are various exercises and fighting skills displayed on it. Along the way, there were more than 100 scrolls, but none of them were lower than the Xian level. You'd better not think about those things. Looking at Lin Feng's appearance, Hua Xie warned. Chapter 55 July. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 55 March. Well, I'm just curious. Hearing this, Lin Feng also hurriedly distanced himself from those wooden frames. Walking to the innermost part, Hua Xie used the token to open a stone door again and continued walking inside. After the two walked through the second stone room, they finally came to the stone room containing items related to the alchemist. As the stone door opened, a strong medicinal fragrance came out. Lin Feng's nasal cavity was instantly filled with the aroma of various medicinal herbs. You snake people have quite a rich collection. Smelling the strong medicinal fragrance, Lin Feng sighed. Humph. Hua Xie glanced at him and did not tell him that this was just a treasure house for storing medium-sized items. If this was a high-quality treasure house, outsiders like him would definitely not be allowed in. Walking into the third stone room, Hua Xie pointed to the wooden frame here and said, "Hurry up and choose. There are only 2 volumes of 4th-grade prescriptions, and you can't steal them." Hearing these extremely distrustful words, Lin Feng smiled and said, "Under the nose of you, the king of fighters, even if I want to steal, I still have to be able to do that." However, Lin Feng did not get an answer. He glanced at Hua Xie, who was standing next to him like a wooden stake. Lin Feng didn't say anything more and started choosing here. Approaching a wooden shelf, Lin Feng looked through it for a while and found that they were all 2nd-grade prescriptions. He immediately put them down and walked forward. Soon, Lin Feng came to a wooden frame. Looking at the scroll above, I saw that the quality was better than the previous one. What? After taking a closer look, he let out an exclamation. Pick up the scroll, open it, and look at it carefully. He said in surprise, Alchemist's Notes. I didn't expect that not only would there be prescriptions here, but also this. Oh, what a fuss. It's just that there used to be some pretentious alchemists who liked to come to the Tagar Desert to look for medicinal materials. They were discovered and killed by our masters. Their things were naturally taken back by us. Lin Feng was surprised to see him. Hua Xie curled her lips and said, after hearing what Hua Xie said, Lin Feng also understood. Due to its special geographical environment, the Tagar Desert contains many natural and earthly treasures. There will definitely be some alchemists who enter it in search of medicinal materials. Looking at the code in his hand, he guessed that some unlucky alchemist was killed and the things were lost to the snake people. Lin Feng sighed slightly and continued walking forward. Arriving at the 3rd row of wooden shelves, Lin Feng picked up a scroll and found a 4th-grade prescription. A smile suddenly appeared on his face. Looking for the prescriptions for the 3 stripes green spirit pill and purple heart barrier breaking pill that he wanted. After flipping through more than a dozen prescriptions and medicine refining notes, I finally found these 2 volumes of prescriptions on the last floor. Grinning, he picked up the 2 scrolls, shook them at Hua Snake, and then put them into his arms. Okay, but just as Lin Feng was about to turn around, he suddenly saw the pile of medicinal materials not far away from the corner of his eye. He hurriedly ran forward, picked up a few plants and looked at them. They were all 3rd and 4th-grade medicinal materials. No, this is how you store medicinal materials. Pointing to the medicinal materials on the ground, Lin Feng's expression suddenly became excited, and he turned to look at Hua Snake behind him. I'm afraid any alchemist who sees this rough storage method will have an expression similar to Lin Feng's. It's none of your business. Now that you've chosen it, come out with me. Facing Lin Feng's questioning, Hua Xie urged unhappily. What a waste. Looking at the medicinal materials in front of me, many of them have lost their medicinal power due to improper preservation. Suddenly, Lin Feng seemed to be pressed on the off button and became quiet. Looking at the medicinal materials in front of him, Lin Feng immediately understood, this snake tribe must have no alchemist, otherwise, medicinal materials would not be stored like this. He immediately showed what he thought was the most friendly smile, turned around and came to Hua Shier's side. "What do you want to do?" Seeing Lin Feng's weird smile, Hua Snaker frowned slightly and said in disgust. "Hey hey." Lin Feng smiled, rubbed his hands, and then said, "You have so many medicinal materials piled here haphazardly. You must have no alchemist to refine them." "Nonsense, you don't have to say this." Looking at the impatient Hua Xier, Lin Feng said seductively, "In this case, I will help you refine these medicinal materials into elixirs. I will not charge you any money and will only take away 30% of the elixirs. However, when refining the elixirs, you will need. How about you provide the prescription and allow me to read the alchemist's manual here?" Hua Xier was not surprised by Lin Feng's identity as alchemist. After all, the rewards Lin Feng asked for were all related to the alchemist. If he couldn't refine medicine, it would be more practical to learn martial arts and fighting skills. However, she was also a little moved when she heard Lin Feng's conditions. After all, the snake tribe is also very short of elixirs. If they could get more elixirs, they would be able to save many of their clansmen from death during battle. After thinking for a moment, Hua Xier also felt that this deal was not a loss for them. Anyway, these things won't work in the treasure house. It's better to make this deal with Lin Feng in exchange for some pills. He nodded and said, "Yes, but as long as you don't take away the alchemist's notes, you can read them as you like. I won't stop you. As for the prescriptions, you can only read which kind of elixir you refine, and you can't read other prescriptions." Hua Xier has also heard of prescriptions, and the opportunity to read them is one at a time, so naturally she doesn't dare to let Lin Feng read them casually. As for the alchemist's notes, it doesn't matter, as long as they are not taken away. That's it. Lin Feng also felt excited in his heart, even though he was already a third-grade alchemist. But for the methods of refining medicine, I only saw some methods of first-grade alchemists from the information left by Lu Shi. The rest was all explored by himself, and he definitely cannot compare with these alchemists who have learned from him. I believe that as long as he reads the alchemist's notes here, his alchemy skills will be greatly improved. At the same time, these medicine refining techniques will also make his foundation more solid. In the secret room, Lin Feng looked at the dark yellow 5th level beast fire filled with the medicine cauldron and the 3rd level qi training pill wrapped in the beast fire. With a smile on his face, with a wave of his hand, the elixir fell steadily into his hand. After watching it for a while, he nodded with satisfaction. This 5th level beast fire is indeed not comparable to the flames formed by his fighting spirit. Since getting it, refining the elixir has become much easier. Of course, it was also because he practiced Mocheng's Xian level advanced skills and was promoted to a 3-star fighting master a month ago. Congratulations, little brother. This qi training pill, which can help stabilize your fighting spirit, is relatively difficult to practice among the 3rd-grade ones. At this time, a seductive female voice came from the side. A snake girl swung her tail and slowly came to Lin Feng. After comparing the prescriptions for a while and confirming that Lin Feng was not forgery, he nodded with satisfaction. "I said, I haven't deceived you in the past 3 months of refining medicine. There is no need to be so careful with me." Looking at the snake girl in front of him who was sent by Hua Xier to monitor him, he said angrily. Chapter 56 Evolution. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The captain has ordered that you humans are cunning and must remain very vigilant. The snake girl shook her head and smiled. Then, he remembered the captain's instructions and said to Lin Feng with some confusion, "The captain said that Her Majesty the Queen is ready and asked you to go over and bring the things to her. It's been 3 months, are you finally ready?" With a murmur, he threw the elixir in his hand to the snake girl. After that, under the suspicious eyes of the snake girl, he walked straight out. "You are here, let the little girl take out the strange fire." In the snake tribe temple, Medusa curled up her Miomon body in the throne and looked at Lin Feng who came in. "Master." When Qing Lin on the side saw Lin Feng's arrival, he hurriedly came up to meet him and threw himself into his arms. This scene made Lumen go crazy with jealousy. In the past 3 months, she and White Fang had been trying to please Qing Lin like crazy. Although the relationship has improved a lot, it still cannot achieve this effect. "No problem. Since the Queen has given me the things, I will naturally not break the contract." He replied to Medusa. Then, feeling that Qin Lin was in a bad mood, he touched Xiao Nizi's head affectionately. Although Lin Feng knew the reason for her bad mood, there was nothing he could do about it. Then, he took the ring from Qin Lin and took out the green lotus inside. The moment Qinglian earth core fire appeared, the temperature inside the hall suddenly rose a lot. Lin Feng held up the blue lotus, looked at Medusa and said, "Your Majesty, have you found the base? There happens to be a mysterious crystal rosette in the treasure house, which can store strange fires. I really don't know what you think. I insist on preparing my own base." Seeing the strange fire, Medusa also dropped from her position to the ground. "Take out a lotus seat carved from strange crystal." Slowly swinging the purple snake tail, he came to Lin Feng's side. "Haha, haven't I heard that the rosette of Qinglian's earth core fire can speed up cultivation? Wouldn't it be a pity that Her Majesty the Queen will be burned when she evolves?" That while speaking, Lin Feng also threw Qinglian over. Taking the strange fire, Medusa used fighting energy to float the Xianjing rosette in the air. Then he took Qinglian and used his tyrannical fighting spirit to directly force out the earth core fire. In an instant, the originally docile earth core fire became violent. However, the moment she left Qinglian, Medusa also used her peak Do Huang's strength to forcefully send it to the Xianjing rosette. After entering inside, the earth core fire also calmed down. With a slight sound of air friction, the empty blue rosette was thrown back into Lin Feng's hands by Medusa. Looking at the green lotus base in his hand and the 11 lotus seeds on it, Lin Feng smiled slightly and took it into the Neji. "I will leave for a while now. After that, regardless of success or failure, the strange fire will be returned to you." After Medusa finished speaking, she glanced at Lin Feng and others, and then left the place. It seems like she still doesn't trust us." Looking at Medusa flying into the distance, White Fang smiled. It doesn't matter anyway. After a while, we will get the strange fire and leave." Lin Feng took out a volume of notes written by a 4th-grade alchemist and said casually. Green Man frowned slightly and said worriedly, "What if she succeeds? Will she regret it and leave us all here?" Baiya raised his huge head slightly and retorted, "It's impossible. Even if she is promoted to Dozong, she will have to go through a period of running-in period before she can truly display the strength of Dozong. During the running-in period, if she wants to stay, it's not that easy to get rid of the two of us, not to mention that if you advance to the different fire level, you will definitely suffer a lot of damage. If you are really successful, you should quickly find a quiet place to recuperate." "Right." When Lu Man heard this, his brows also widened. Then, he turned around and looked at Lin Feng, who was reading a book with Qin Lin in his arms, and said angrily, "It's a shame that you can read well at this time." Lin Feng took back the scroll he had finished reading and took out a new scroll. Without raising his head, he said, It's useless to worry now. It's better to do what you need to do. Besides, this alchemist's handbook cannot be taken away. If you don't read it now, it will be difficult to read it later. Boy, do you really not want to go to the Heavenly Snake Mansion with us? With your talent, if you join our Heavenly Snake Mansion, you will definitely receive key training. Speaking of refining medicine, White Fang also thought of this boy's terrifying talent for refining medicine and invited him again. That's right, if you join our Tianxi Mansion, you won't have to worry about training resources. Moreover, I heard that there are treasures such as 7th-grade medicine prescriptions in the manor. When you level up, you will definitely be able to get them. In the past 3 months, Green Man also knew about Lin Feng's talent in refining medicine, he said seductively. 2 seniors, there is no need to persuade me. I have no interest in joining any force for the time being. Boom! Just when Lu Man was still about to say something, there was a sudden explosion in the sky in the distance. Immediately, it attracted the attention of everyone present. Several people quickly walked out of the temple, came outside, and looked in the direction of the sound. I saw a patch of sky in the distance that was now dyed cyan, and the Qinglian earth core fire seemed to be stimulated in some way. At this time, it was becoming extremely violent. Lin Feng's heart suddenly sank as he looked at the sky that was a little distorted by the high temperature. This strange fire emits a terrifying momentum that even the Gamma Empire can feel. If it attracts those masters, or Xiao Yan, it will be troublesome. In the Warcraft Mountains, Xiao Yan was concentrating on fighting the First Order peak Warcraft in front of him. Suddenly, a white flame instantly burned the monster into powder and fell to the ground. Yao Lao also jumped out of the ring quickly, looking toward the Tagar Desert. To the east with a solemn expression. "Teacher, what's going on? Didn't you say before that you would not take action until there was a critical moment?" Seeing the monster in front of him being burnt to dregs by the strange fire, Xiao Yan said in confusion. "Now, let's go to the Tagar Desert immediately." After a moment of silence, Yao Lao said slowly. When Xiao Yan heard this, he was a little puzzled and said, "Teacher, didn't you go to the Tagar Desert to train after I was promoted to Dou Master before? I am only a 9-star Dou Master now." Yao Lao felt it carefully, and then said, "I just felt the breath of the strange fire over there. Please relax and let me control your body." After saying that, Yao Lao quickly returned to Neji. "What?" When Xiao Yan heard this, he was a little dazed for a moment, but then he recovered and hurriedly relaxed his mind and let Yao Lao control his body. After that, Xiao Yan's black pupils suddenly turned white. There was a bang sound from behind, a pair of fighting wings spread out, and then they shot out toward the east. "Teacher, it seems we haven't gathered the ingredients for the Blood Lotus pill yet, and we haven't found the Ice Spirit Cold Spring either." In the air, Xiao Yan suddenly remembered the 3 items he used to absorb the strange fire. He only had one to absorb the spirit, but he didn't have the other 2, he said anxiously. Yao Lao was silent for a while, and then replied, "I don't care about that anymore. Let's get the strange fire first. If it is snatched away by another strong person, it will be even more troublesome." As for Yunlan sect, a middle-aged man didn't pay attention to the scrapped 6th-grade elixir Chudan in the medicine cauldron, and stared fixedly at the east. Then, he stood up and quickly flew towards the place where the sect leader was practicing. The powerful people from Jiama Holy City and other places were all disturbed by the powerful energy fluctuations in the east, and they all rushed towards that direction. Thanks to Cien002 for the reward. Thanks to Bookfriend 202204090052148544. The reward. Thank you all for your monthly votes and recommendation votes. Chapter 57 Failure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Did it fail? Looking at the disappearing blue flame and the 8 anxious figures guarding it, Lumen said calmly. "No, there is a situation. The energy of the world in this area suddenly started to riot for some reason." Looking at the sky that suddenly became much darker, White Fang shook his 4 pairs of wings slightly and said. When Lin Feng heard this, he also raised his head and looked at the sky. "I saw that the originally clear sky suddenly became much darker at this time. Groups of dark clouds that came from nowhere slowly enveloped the sky. Boom! Among the dark clouds, the sound of roaring thunder suddenly came out. That's enough, MOBAs, if you dare to say one more word, we will send you to enjoy the punishment of being eaten by thousands of snakes." Seeing Lin Feng and the others, MOBAs came to his senses and immediately shouted angrily. After a long time, Lumen saw no movement in the mist and said in surprise. However, the snake people from the major tribes nearby were filled with ecstasy, and their earth-shattering cheers resounded through the sky. "Everyone, we, the snake tribe, have many things to deal with right now. We cannot receive you all, so please leave as soon as possible." Cut. Flying to the side of the 8 lost leaders, Lin Feng hid behind Baiya and said. Seeing someone coming to the line, White Fang immediately became energetic and replied. In his heart, he was also very angry at this time. At this time, this brainless fool still went to provoke the powerful Dou Huang. The green man's eyes narrowed slightly and he said in slight shock. Green Man and White Ya snorted coldly when they heard the meaning of Incher's words. Seeing that there was no movement on Medusa's side, Lin Feng spread his wings and said to the dazed man and snake, "Then it's time to fly towards the direction of Medusa's evolution. Guys, now that the strange fire has been used, please return it to me as agreed." The latter nodded and immediately flew to the place where Medusa evolved. but in just 10 seconds, this turbulent momentum quickly retracted into the light curtain like a tide. Green Man exclaimed, looking at the lightning that was enough to kill the powerful Dou Huang, and then looked at White Fang beside him in confusion. Ah! At a shocking speed, it quickly enveloped the city. Moment later, the blazing sunshine enveloped the city again. Feeling that the fighting spirit in her body had decreased by 10%, Yume pulled her lips. Even though it evolved about 10 months earlier than the original work, it was still successful. After struggling for so long, I finally got the earth core fire, and then put the rosette into the ring. After all, White Fang knew more about these things than she did. Unexpectedly, the peerless strong man at the peak of Dou Huang was completely annihilated by the burning of the strange fire. Medusa had made so much noise when she evolved just now. He was worried about attracting some powerful people, and also wanted to get the strange fire back as soon as possible. The roaring in their ears gradually receded, and everyone hurriedly turned their attention to the purple light curtain. This strange fire was really terrifying. In just a short moment, she, a strong fighter, consumed 1/10 of her fighting energy. How dare you come? A huge silver thunderbolt shot down from the clouds. He came to the huge burnt black wreckage and bowed. Lin Feng took off the ring containing the alchemist's handbook and returned it to a few people. Hey, little black snake, you still dare to talk nonsense here? Believe it or not, I will slap you to death. After putting it away, he picked up the rosette and flew back into the sky, throwing it towards Lin Feng. White Ye lowered his head in silence for a long time, then looked at the sky again, and said slowly, according to our clan's records, when some ancient legendary monsters were born or advanced, they would cause some strange phenomena in the world due to the disharmony of the huge energy in their bodies. However, these legendary-level monsters are extremely powerful existences. Some of the best of them, when they become great, can even compete with Dou Zun, or even Dou Xing-level human powerhouses. The current Dou Qi Continent, so there seem to be very few legendary monsters like this in existence. Looking at the current situation, the most likely cause is probably Queen Medusa. She also didn't expect that Queen Medusa, who was famous in several empires, would be struck to death by lightning. Humph. What's going on? Why is this happening? Not sure. White Fang shook his head and then said, looking at the sky. Lin Feng sighed in his heart, but feeling the powerlessness again, he shook his head, no longer optimistic about Medusa. Struck to death by lightning. Boom. Don't worry, everyone. We, the snake people, will only abide by the agreement and return the strange fire. We have to wait for a while. At this time, Inshur, the most senior among the 8 leaders, shouted loudly. Finally, it passed through the purple light curtain and smashed into the blue flame. This was consumed by the queen. If it was in its prime, it would have been so powerful. I really don't know how the queen could have sustained it for so long. However, after the previous lightning strike, there was a faint cyan mist. Suddenly, a vast and terrifying aura suddenly burst out. Silver lightning flashed randomly in it, like long silver snakes. Green Man and White Fang came back to their senses and looked at the direction of Medusa's evolution with some melancholy. Lin Feng took the rosette and checked it. After confirming that there was nothing wrong, he breathed a sigh of relief. At this moment, a huge roar poured down, and in an instant, the sky and the earth lit up. Feeling the powerful momentum of this aura, Green Man was shocked at first. Medusa succeeded. No, although this aura is terrifyingly powerful, there is a faint hint of insufficiency. It seems that she still failed. Before the roar of thunder in everyone's ears had completely dissipated, the dark clouds in the sky began to disappear rapidly. Thunder comes and goes even faster. Obviously, the fall of Queen Medusa made them fearful of the 2 fighting emperors, Green Barbarian and White Fang, and began to drive them away. It seeped out from that place and at the same time covered everyone's sight. Feeling the gazes of the other major tribal leaders, Mobas had no choice but to retreat angrily. Seeing that the matter was completely resolved, White Fang and Green Barbarian took Lin Feng and Qing Lin respectively and shot away into the distance, used fighting energy to wrap up the much weaker Qinglian earth core fire, and then quickly send it to the rosette. Seeing Lin Feng put away the strange fire, Inshur's mature voice continued to sound. After Inshur finished speaking, he winked at Yume. You mean, she evolved successfully, but as the breath disappeared again, the joyful drinking also stopped. All the snake people had a look of astonishment on their faces, full of anxiety and expectation. Let's go and get the strange fire back. Then he picked up the mysterious crystal rosette on the ground and came to the strange fire. Seeing a few people leaving, Yan Xiai, one of the leaders, asked Shi, "What should we do now?" "Order all places to be on guard and summon all the strong men in seclusion." The news of Her Majesty's evolution must have alarmed the strong men of the Gamma Empire. Now, they may be on their way here. Looking at the western sky, Shi said solemnly. "It is good." When several people heard this, they also hurriedly flew to various places. Chapter 58 Farewell. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boy, we will send you here. If you walk a few miles further, you will reach the city. White Ye slowly flapped his wings, landed on a sandy area, and said to Lin Feng behind him. "Thank you, Senior, okay." Lin Feng cupped his hands, and in the middle of speaking, he suddenly changed his words and continued, "Please wait a moment, Qing Lin and I have a few words." Can. After hearing the request, which was not an embarrassing request, Green Man put the green scale in his hand on the ground. "Master." As soon as he landed on the ground, Qing Lin jumped a few times and threw his body into Lin Feng's arms, rubbing Qing Lin's green hair. Lin Feng's heart was full of reluctance. "I've been with this little girl for almost 4 months, and I'm used to the life around her." Now that the two of them were suddenly separated, he was very uncomfortable with it. After a while, Lin Feng promised Qing Lin in his arms, "Xiao Nizi, don't worry, I will go see you later." Since Bai Ye and Lu Man were there, Lin Feng couldn't directly say that he wanted to take her back, but I believe that Qing Lin would definitely understand what he meant. After that, there was another whisper in Qing Lin's ear. "Well, Qing Lin will definitely wait for the young master to come." Qing Lin sniffed her little nose and replied with a sob. Then, he also lay next to Lin Feng's ear, not knowing what he said. After hearing this, Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up, and then he nodded. After saying this, Lin Feng did not dare to stay too long when he thought that those powerful men from the Jiama Empire might come to the Tagore Desert. He bent down and gently wiped away the tears on Qing Lin's little face, and placed her in Lu Man's arms again. "Let's go, boy, remember our agreement." After White Fang finished speaking, the 8 wings shook, and the huge snake body disappeared instantly. "Boy, remember what you promised us." The Green Man also reminded him, and then he hugged Qing Lin, spread his green wings, and followed White Fang. "Don't worry, you too, I won't forget about Pazong Dan." Lin Feng waved and shouted loudly. "It seems that we need to improve our strength as soon as possible." The promise to Qing Lin must be fulfilled. Looking at the figure disappearing on the spot, Lin Feng sighed with some melancholy. He was really not used to the sudden departure of Xiao Nizi, who was around him and kept shouting "Master, Master" before. After a while, he shook his head and suppressed the parting emotion temporarily. Looking around, Lin Feng shouted loudly, "Come out." Whoosh! After a moment of silence, a piercing sound suddenly came from a certain direction, and a slender colorful figure flashed out. Lin Feng only saw a colorful light flashing in front of his eyes at a very fast speed. The space in front of him was like a stone falling into a pond, causing ripples. When Lin Feng's eyes reacted, a slender, colorful figure suddenly appeared next to him. Lin Feng looked carefully and found that the figure was a slender little snake only about 2 centimeters long. Its whole body is covered with tiny colorful scales, with lavender snake eyes, giving it a faintly monstrous feeling. A strange fresh fragrance lingers on the body. Although it is just a snake body now, it exudes elegance and nobility. The little snake's appearance is not only not ferocious, but actually a little too beautiful. With such beautiful creatures, I'm afraid many women will forget their fear and disgust of snakes. As expected, it's you, colorful swallowing heaven. Lin Feng said clearly when he saw the little snake. This little snake is actually the companion soul of Queen Medusa, the 6th level monster, the purple flame snake. After being calcined by the strange fire, the thin blood in the body was activated. Thus they evolved into their ancient ancestors, and when they were completed, they were comparable to the colorful sky-swallowing beasts of human fighting saints. He had already felt something spying on him when he was talking to White Fang. However, the creature didn't seem to follow him, and kept staring at him. There was no cover-up at all, so he quickly noticed it. Moreover, there was no murderous intent or greed in his eyes, so, while talking to Qing Lin, he asked the latter. Qing Lin's reply was, "The snake-like monster is much higher than Mocheng and slightly lower than the 8 leaders." Lin Feng thought about it over and over again, and the only answer was the missing colorful swallowing Sky Meng. Watching Tun Tianmong lift his tail and gently hold his chin, his slightly lively eyes were full of doubts. At this time, it really couldn't figure out how it could be discovered after it was hidden so well. Lin Feng raised the corner of his mouth slightly and tentatively touched Tun Tianmong's little head. The moment he touched the little sky-swallowing python, he saw it wrap around one of Lin Feng's fingers. Immediately afterwards, he rubbed back and forth intimately on the ring containing the Qinglian Earth Core Fire. Is it because it was born under the calcining of the Qinglian Earth Core Fire, so it has a natural affinity for the Earth Core Fire? Seeing this scene, Lin Feng murmured in surprise. At the same time, he understood somewhat in his heart why Tun Tianmong was chasing him. Feeling the slightly cold scales, Lin Feng raised his head and glanced in the direction of the snake tribe. Then, he shook his head again. Without the protection of a strong person now, it was too dangerous to send Tun Tianmong back to the snake people. Besides, he really needs a trump card to save his life now. He gritted his teeth and said with some uncertainty, "Queen Medusa and I don't have any grudges. It should be fine. How about taking it with you? Forget it, let's decide whether to live or die later. Now let's take this powerful Dou Wang away first." Thinking of this, Lin Feng took out a 3rd-grade elixir from Neji that could help fire attribute fighters practice. After shaking it in front of it, Xiao Tun Tianmong's eyes were attracted to the elixir in an instant. Lin Feng smiled and threw it into Xiao Tun Tianmong's mouth. The latter chewed it a few times and then swallowed it in one gulp. Then, the snake tongue licked its lips and quickly came to Lin Feng's eyes, wagging its tail slightly. The lavender eyes actually looked at Lin Feng with a little longing. Taking out another pill, Lin Feng said seductively, "If you listen to me from now on, then I will keep giving you delicious food. How about that?" Little Tun Tianmong tilted his head slightly, thought for a moment, and then moved his head quickly. Then, in a flash, he ran to Lin Feng, rubbing against him intimately. "Here, take another one. I'll have to work for you in a few days." Lin Feng grinned slightly and put the elixir in his hand into Tun Tianmong's mouth again. Tun Tianmong swallowed it in one gulp, and then patted his belly with his tail in satisfaction. Afterwards, with a slight sound breaking through the air, Tun Tianmong ran to Lin Feng's arm, wrapped it around him, closed his eyes and fell asleep. This guy is so happy when he eats and sleeps. With a sigh, Lin Feng ran toward Stone Desert City. Chapter 59 Return to Mocheng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Returning to Shimo City, Lin Feng discovered that the city at this time was filled with flags of the Modi mercenary group. None of the 3 Xiao brothers is simple. Looking at the flags flying everywhere, Lin Feng sighed. The 3 brothers of the Xiao family, excluding the time traveler Xiao Yan, will not be mentioned for the moment. Xiao Yan's 2 older brothers, Xiao Ding and Xiao Li. He was able to defeat the remnants of the Sand mercenary group and the Storm mercenary group so quickly, and lead the Desert Iron mercenary group to dominate the Stone Desert City. There was a reason why he planned to kill Rob, but there is nothing to say about this character and means. However, although he knew that Xiao Ding and Xiao Li were in Stone Desert City, he didn't even think about killing them to take revenge on Xiao Yan. Good a map store, but the dry palm holding the black drawing pen was still steady and strong. Lin Feng flicked its little head and pointed to Heibadong's shop next to it. As the handprint ended, the white mist in front of him suddenly turned rapidly. Looking at Xiao Kai, who was indifferent and took action directly, Heibadong shouted angrily and quickly formed a seal with his hands in front of him. Feeling the rich fire energy coming from the jade box in Lin Feng's hand, Xiao Kai could no longer hold back and nodded. He clearly hit his right palm with his left fist and said loudly, "It must be the reason for the terrifying momentum before." When Lin Feng saw this scene, he was so frightened that he almost flew away. Following Heibadong's roar, there were more and more ice blades around him. "Hey!" Xiao Kai responded and quickly disappeared from the spot. "After all, you won't get much benefit from doing this, and the risks are high." The moment the old man jumped away, a man in black robes suddenly broke open the wall of the store and entered. With so many strong men attracted, Yao Chen must have sensed the aura of the earth core fire. Another passerby looked at the sky and thought for a while, then laid his head down. Then a lot of filler was added to make Xiao Kai look like a person. First, I recalled the original work and guessed that Xiao Yan might still be in Qingshan town. Xianbing spins to kill. Looking up, Lin Feng vaguely saw several figures with fighting spirit transformed into wings behind them, shooting towards the Tagore desert. Shaking the jade box in his hand, he smiled and said, "This is the medicinal material for the 5th grade elixir, don't you think about it." The fighting spirit at the peak level of Dou Ling circulated rapidly under his urging. Bump. After saying that, Lin Feng was worried that the temptation was not enough, so he took out the medicinal materials again. This old man is obviously quite old, but even though he has white hair, an instant later, a transparent ice mirror about half a meter long and wide suddenly condensed in front of him. Suddenly, the old man seemed to sense something and quickly jumped away from the place. These days, he is trying to reduce the possibility of being sensed by others. Hey. After coughing up a mouthful of blood from his throat, Hai Budong wiped away the remaining blood from the corner of his mouth and said in horror. Ice mirror. Just when Lin Feng lost his mind, several piercing sounds suddenly came from the sky, quickly waking him up. Looking at the quaint shop, Lin Feng quickly ducked into a remote alley. Ying. Ahem, this power is Dou Wang. Who are you and why did you attack me? Now, I must be rushing here. Lin Feng shook his head and said in a low voice, Xiao Kai, wake up quickly and get to work. Before Hai Budong could react, he was hit hard in the abdomen. He took out the Tunshin Mang wrapped around his arm and looked at the little guy who was still sleeping soundly. In his stunned eyes, he smashed the wall of the store and flew his whole body into the room behind the store. Oh, when she heard that she was eating, Xiao Kai hurriedly stood upright and floated in front of Lin Feng, and in order to avoid that straight line, he made a big circle. Bastard, the old man fought with you today. His journey was very smooth and he did not encounter master and disciple Xiao Yan. Presumably the master and the apprentice were so angry that their trip was in vain. If you put it that way, I'm afraid so. If he was discovered, he would not be able to escape Xiao Yan's pursuit with the blessing of Yao Chen. Suddenly, the seemingly hard ice mirror immediately shattered. Lin Feng chuckled lightly and then walked into the city. After a while, he walked to the Gouda map store in Heibadong. This guy. It is unlikely to take a detour for fear of being snatched away. After a while, I saw the motionless sky-swallowing python, sleeping like a dead snake. There is an old man there who is less powerful than you. You just need to knock him out and I will give you a blazing vine. How about that? Unfortunately, Xiao Kai, who couldn't speak, couldn't answer his questions at all and just continued to attack him. However, even if Heibadong felt hostility, he would avoid it in advance, but if you get too close to the medicine dust, you will definitely be sensed. After all, master and disciple Xiao Yan must be very anxious after discovering the strange fire. A passerby looked at the figure passing by in the sky and said in shock. Suddenly, crescent-shaped ice blades appeared. Spinning around him, thinking of this, Lin Feng hurriedly ran towards Mocheng. 5 days later, Lin Feng looked at the khaki city in front of him and breathed a sigh of relief. Oh! Lin Feng helplessly held his forehead, and then shouted next to its little head, Xiao Kai, dinner is ready. However, it can now be proven that his choice was correct. Looking at the two sides that were quickly getting closer, Hai Budong quickly formed a seal with his dry hands and shouted softly. Seeing its appearance, Lin Feng twitched his lips, but they still couldn't escape Xiao Kai's attack range, and the distance between the two was rapidly closing. Oh my god, isn't that the city lord Qi Kong of Zhendong City? I heard that he is a strong master of the 3-star Dou Wang. How come the several great Dou Wang masters nearby today all appeared here together, and they all flew towards Tago? Great Desert. Xiao Kai, who was wearing a black burqa, hit the ice mirror hard. Behind the counter of the store, an old man was carefully making a map with his head down. He looked around, looking for the rice that Lin Feng was talking about. Lin Feng took back the medicinal materials and immediately took out a black robe and put it on Xiao Kai. Okay, I'll give it to you as soon as it's done. It took half the time to return to Mocheng. Although the earth core fire has been suppressed by the Xianjing rosette, it has been put into the Neji again. Then, the straight line from Qingshan town to Tagore desert was drawn on the map. Looking at Xiao Kai who was very uncomfortable with it, Lin Feng pointed in the direction of Haibudong and said, "Come on, little guy. Remember to protect the disguise with fighting spirit to prevent his true identity from being discovered." After that, he always avoided walking in that straight line. In the end, his body was completely covered in it. The ice blades are connected to each other, forming a small spiral storm that is completely combined by the ice blades. "Go with, in the storm," a low shout came out, and the ice blade storm suddenly attacked Xiao Kaiwan. Chapter 60 obtained the second residual picture. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 60 The second residual picture is obtained. Along the way, the floor of the room was almost destroyed with ravines and ravines. Some crystal counters were scraped along by the ice blade and exploded. The places where they exploded were as smooth as mirrors. It seemed like a long time, but in fact, it only took a blink of an eye for Haibudong to go from condensing his fighting skills to launching an attack. Xiao Kai looked at the storm of ice blades coming straight at him, and with a somewhat disdainful expression, Xiao Kai rushed forward. This man must be crazy. If he charges straight like this, even the king of fighters will probably suffer some losses. Haibudong said in shock as he looked at Xiao Kai, who came directly over without using any fighting skills. Xianjing pierces the wall. Seeing Xiao Kai's actions, Haibudong also felt a little uneasy. Accompanied by shouts, white mist emerged rapidly, and finally condensed into a thick layer of ice more than 3 meters wide, and to save Haibudong's life, the old man would definitely not publicize it. Lin Feng put away the disguised items, took out the blazing vine and threw it to Xiao Kai. When we came to the inner room, the situation here was almost the same as outside. Put in the unblocking pill that Medusa gave him. Arriving at the street, Lin Feng thought for a moment and decided to go to the holy city, the imperial capital of the Jiama Empire. Lin Feng quickly took it out and held it in his hand. Then he used the Xian-level low-level swimming steps and quickly jumped in through the hole that Xiao Kai had just knocked out. In that place, master and disciple Xiao Yan will definitely not be encountered now. But unfortunately, although his fighting consciousness is still there, his fighting spirit level is only Dou Ling after all, and how can he compare with Xiao Kai, who is at Dou Wang level? He spread out the broken picture, his palms trembling with excitement, then quickly put the ring in and walked to the room inside. Wherever the energy ripples passed, the surrounding tables and walls were all crackled to pieces. Arriving inside the shop, Lin Feng glanced around and saw that the place was already in a mess. Several sounds of ice cracking suddenly sounded in the shop. Arriving at the deepest part of the Neji, I finally sensed the remnant image of the demonic fire. Then, in Haibudong's unbelievable eyes, Lin Feng asked, "Has he not discovered your true identity?" The originally quaint and tall shop suddenly fell to the ground. Moreover, on the surface of the ice layer, long sharp ice spikes were densely scattered all over. He carved a few big characters on the floor, then got up and walked outside. Moreover, Haibudong will definitely pursue the direction of the human fighting king. If the old man died, Middle would definitely search for the murderer after finding out. It is basically impossible for anyone to suspect him, but Xiao Yan, pick up a piece of crushed ice of suitable size from the ground and dig out a small hole in it. Although Haibudong's shop was made of special materials and he couldn't sense what was going on inside from the outside, he had almost guessed it in his heart. The worst thing was that the pedestrians near the store were unprepared and were crushed into blood mist by this force. Click. This old man was a 5-star fighting emperor decades ago, but unfortunately he died in the Tagar Desert. Looking at the old man who was still sleeping in front of him, he looked at Xiao Kai who had arrived beside him at some unknown time. Scanning the dark room with his eyes, Lin Feng found an old man leaning against the wall and falling asleep. He must have been the Ice Emperor Haibudong. Suddenly a faint musty smell hit his face, making him frown slightly. There was a sudden explosion and the Xianjing thorn wall in front of him suddenly shattered. It is conceivable that if this was a head-on collision, the outcome would probably not be too pleasant. "How's it going? Is the matter done?" But when he saw that it was a perfect fit, there was no difference in the slightest. The corners of his mouth suddenly cracked, and then he put the ring in his mouth. Then, Haibudong felt as if he was struck by a soft whip on his head. He instantly felt a sharp pain and then lost consciousness. Seeing that the matter was completed, Xiao Cai's figure flashed, then it took effect, but by that time, he didn't know where he had gone. Walking to a pile of maps, Lin Feng casually flipped through the yellowed maps with his palms. With such preparations, he believed that even a famous fighting king would suffer a loss and then run away in despair. In an instant, dense purple energy snakes quickly swam from his abdomen to his whole body, and the energy ripples are still spreading outward. Now there is almost a year left until the 3-year appointment. Slowly scanning these items in the space, in his excitement, Xiao Kai quickly shook her head and patted her chest to prove that she was not that bad. Hee, I got the remaining picture. I remember that there is still half of it. It should be on Haibudong. Take out the small fragment of the previous image again and join the two pieces together. Xiao Kai smashed several ice blades one after another and rushed out from his Xianbing spin. After all, Haibudong is only at the Dou Ling level now, and is definitely comparable to the Dou Wang level sky-swallowing python. Fierce ripples of energy spread rapidly from his body. The floor of the store was full of ravines. All kinds of furniture shelves were in pieces. Finally, he roughly stuffed the ice cube into Haibudong's mouth. After all, if this spreads out, he, the Ice King, will be greatly embarrassed. This lasted for nearly half an hour, and Haibudong, who had been silent all this time, suddenly began to tremble violently. Lin Feng asked hurriedly when he saw Xiao Kai, as long as the ice cube melts, the pill will be swallowed by Haibudong. In an instant, the entire desert city was enveloped by this surging energy. Finally, he met Medusa. Although he escaped by chance, he paid a huge price and his strength was sealed at the spirit fighting level. Ying. The next second, he appeared in front of Lin Feng. In the blink of an eye, she was beside him. Well done. After rummaging for a moment, his palms trembled slightly, and from the pile of broken maps, he took out a broken picture only the size of a palm. At this time, Haibudong realized that something was wrong and quickly strengthened his fighting skills. When Lin Feng saw this, he had no intention of killing Haibudong. He came to the old man and squatted down, took off the ring from his finger, held it tightly in his hand, and then quickly entered the soul perception inside, browsed through Xian level martial arts and fighting skills, gold coin cards, 6th grade prescriptions, and medicinal materials, and Xiao Kai nodded as he had guessed, threw away the obstructive disguise, and transformed back into the little snake. Then don't kill him. Suddenly, a space several times wider than the Tanajing appeared in his perception. Moreover, as long as he doesn't encounter anyone familiar with strange fire, the place will be very safe. Half a day later, as the ice cube in Haibudong's mouth melted, with the help of the water flow, he swallowed the pill. Oh my God! What's going on? The originally lively and orderly Shimo city was suddenly filled with panic and panic. Boom! Following a violent explosion, several cities not far from Stone Desert City were also attracted by this terrifying momentum. Chapter 61 Arriving at the Imperial Capital. You are listening at novelfull.audio. However, Lin Feng, the instigator, could not feel this Dou Huang aura. At this moment, he was already sleeping leisurely on the flying monster hundreds of miles away from Stone Desert City. Haibudong on the other side, at this time, he seemed unaware of the damage he had caused. After falling asleep for a long time, his eyes suddenly opened. Looking around hurriedly, he found that the black-robed fighting king had disappeared, and what came into view was a mess. Suddenly, he felt uncontrollable vindictive energy rushing around in his body. Haibudong was stunned for a while, and then said with surprise and joy, "Is this, I broke through the seal." Then he reacted quickly and hurriedly sat cross-legged. His old face suddenly became tense, his mind sank into his body, and he hurriedly controlled the aimless fighting spirit and ran it normally along the specific meridians of the technique, guide all the little energy snakes that seemed to be helping him to unseal to the source of Medusa's seal. When the two purple energies collided gently, in an instant, the two energies began to melt strangely. Then, the dissolving energy begins to slowly flow along the meridians, and is finally expelled from the body. The purple mist that diffused from Kaiba Tuya's body gradually completely hid his figure in it. Soon after, wait until the last trace of purple energy is discharged. Haibudong's closed eyes suddenly opened, and light shot out from them like real substance. A ferocious aura, like an awakened lion, surged out from within the body that had been deeply suppressed for nearly decades. Under this powerful momentum, the surrounding purple mist instantly turned into nothingness, and the residents of Stone Desert City who were running away were walking a little faster. This damn seal is finally gone. I've become the Dou Huang again. that the fighting spirit wings that had been buried for decades suddenly emerged, and Hai Budong's body was suspended in the air like lightning. His face was filled with ecstasy, and he threw his head back and laughed wildly. The violent sound waves, carried by fighting spirit, shook the fleeing residents to the point where they cursed in their hearts. After laughing wildly for a long time, Hai Budong suddenly thought of the black-robed fighting king in the air. Then he touched his head, which was still a little sore, and said angrily, "You bastard! Don't let me know who did it. I won't kill him." Okay. Relying on Dou Huang's excellent eyesight, Hai Budong suddenly noticed something on the ground. Landing on the ground, he waved his dry palm lightly. The ferocious fighting spirit instantly blew the large pile of debris on the ground to nowhere. "I robbed you of your property and saw how pitiful you were. I used the materials in your Neji to help you refine a poorer Dan. You're welcome." But without the obstruction of the debris, Hai Budong immediately saw the writing on the ground clearly and read it subconsciously. "You stole my things and you dared to talk to me in such a giving tone." As an angry shout rang out, the surrounding houses were shattered into pieces by the strong fighting spirit. At this time, Hai Budong was so angry in his heart. You know, among his Neji, there are several of his special fighting skills, as well as the techniques he cultivated. In addition to those prescriptions, medicinal materials and other messy items, they are worth tens of millions of gold coins. Having so many things taken away, Hai Budong was already in an extremely unhappy mood, yet this man in black robe actually dared to provoke him. "Okay, you're angry with me, right? When I find you, for the sake of helping me refine poor Dan, I won't kill you. However, I heard that guy Furukawa has been promoted to the 6th level, so I'll keep you. Reveal the news about the strange fire to him and see how you can escape the pursuit of the 6th-grade alchemist." Hai Budong thought bitterly. The mysterious man who could help him refine Poorden must have a strange fire, and it must be easier to find. After he confirmed the identity of the mysterious man, he immediately revealed the information to Furukawa. He did not believe that Furukawa was not interested in the strange fire. Just when Hai Budong was thinking about revenge, a white-haired old man in a simple linen robe flapped the earth-yellow fighting spirit wings behind him and appeared in the air not far from the former. "Hey, it turns out it's you, old man Bing. I haven't seen you for decades. Now that you've come out, you destroyed our stone desert city like this. It's a bit unkind." The old man was surprised, with a hint of unfriendliness in his tone. "Hey, who do I think it is? It turns out to be an old monster from the royal family. I'm so sorry this time. There was something wrong with my practice, and I accidentally made a mess in your empire's stone desert city. Let's do this. All the residents in the city will suffer from losses. How about I, the Mitre family, compensate you, and also compensate your royal family for a volume of Xian-level intermediate fighting skills." Hai Budong looked up, his face changed slightly, and he felt that the linen-robed old man's aura was stronger than his peak, and he did not dare to neglect, and chuckled. While speaking, Hai Budong's face turned a little pale, and a trace of helplessness flashed in his eyes. He suffered a big loss this time. The compensation would not be worth 5 to 6 million gold coins, so there was no way he could even think about it. However, thinking about his current strength as a 2-star Dou Huang, his expression softened a little. Although he was unable to return to the 5-star fighting emperor, he was at his peak because he was sealed for too long, but returning to the Dou Huang realm is a happy event anyway. As long as he returns to the middle family, the family's strength will definitely be greatly improved. It may take some time to make back the lost money. However, those stunts that made him famous were. Since the Ice Emperor said this, I naturally want to show off my face. The old man in linen robe touched his gray beard, and an old voice came out. Then, the old man chuckled and said, "You and I haven't seen each other for decades. It's better to choose a day than to hit it. Today, we two old friends will have a test." After saying that, the figure suddenly disappeared from the spot, turning into a khaki light and shadow, heading towards Hai Bo eastward. "Humph, you old fool, if you want to show off to me, just say so. Why are you so secretive?" Hai Budong snorted coldly. The temperature around him suddenly dropped, and the pure white fighting spirit quickly met him. "Hey, how could it be? I just want to compete with my old friend." A few days later. With this level of prosperity, it deserves to be the imperial capital of the Jiama Empire. On the back of the flying monster, Lin Feng opened the window, lowered his head slightly, glanced across this magnificent imperial capital, and couldn't help but sigh in admiration. With such a huge scale, among the cities Lin Feng had seen, in terms of majesty and area, the holy city of Gama was undoubtedly the first. As the flying beast slowly fell, Lin Feng walked out of the flying transport line and came to the streets of the imperial capital. Looking at the bustling crowd, I didn't know what to do for a while. Find a place to live first, and then go to the Alchemist Guild headquarters to have a look. Thinking of this, Lin Feng walked forward for a while, saw an inn, and stayed in it. Chapter 62 Organizing the Harvest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After arriving in the room and checking it out, Lin Feng sat down in the training area of the room with confidence. He took out Hai Budong's Na ring and arranged it carefully. Lin Feng has been flying on the back of the flying monster these days, and the sound insulation of those rooms is very poor. He was worried that he would be too excited and someone in the next room would notice something unusual, so he never went to clean it up. Now that he had arrived at this safe place, he could safely sort out the loot inside the ring. After cleaning for a moment, Lin Feng's mouth corners raised so much that he almost reached behind his ears. This Hai Budong is indeed the supreme elder of the business family, and the collection in his ring is really too rich. There are as many as 8 books on Guangshuan level advanced fighting skills. Moreover, there are several of them that are Hai Budong's famous stunts. I think if I exchange it, I will definitely get a very good price. Of course, these things cannot be traded within the Gama Empire. As for those low and mid-level fighting skills of the Xian level, there were even a lot of them, and he was too lazy to count them. The Xuanjie Kung Fu method is much less. However, there is a volume of advanced Xian level skills called Ice Cold Technique that is a bit strange. He was actually kept alone in Neji by Hai Budong, the fighting emperor. Lin Feng took it out, put it in his hand, and looked at the white scroll in his hand. After a while, Lin Feng guessed that this must be the technique practiced by Hai Budong. After playing with it for a while, he put away the ice-cold art. Then he took out a few more gold coin cards, looked through them a few times, and found that one of them was an extremely exquisite purple gold card. This kind of purple gold card must have at least Dou Wang level strength to be eligible to use it. Lin Feng totaled up the amounts of several gold coin cards and found that they were about 3 million. Then he put the ring in and took out the scroll of ancient prescriptions. Lin Feng's expression became even more excited, and his hands couldn't help but tremble. Although Heibadong only has 1 volume of prescriptions in his collection, this volume of prescriptions is a 6th grade elixir, a prescription for poor Dan. Its value may only be comparable to that of Earth-level fighting skills. He carefully put the prescription away, looked at the 3 Peden medicinal materials, and put it together with the prescription. After that, Lin Feng discovered many 4th grade and a small amount of 5th grade elixirs. As for the rest, Lin Feng didn't care much. He just inspected it and accepted it. After sorting out Heibadong's Neji, Lin Feng touched the Neji containing the earth core fire. After a while, he thought of how to deal with this strange fire. Lin Feng decided that after half a year when Canaan College enrolls students, he would sign up there. Then he used the strange fire to trade with the 5th grade peak alchemist of the alchemy department, Elder Huo. I believe that not only will he be able to obtain earth-level skills and fighting skills, but also if he gets the poison elixir method in the future, when helping the little medical immortal condense the poisonous elixir, Elder Huo would definitely be willing to lend the strange fire for Lin Feng to use. The main reason why he spent so much effort to obtain the strange fire was for the little medical fairy, but thinking of the strange fire, Lin Feng took out the empty green lotus seed from Neji. Looking at the 11 earth-centered lotus seeds around him, Lin Feng carefully picked them out one by one, and then put them into a jade bottle for preservation. The value of this lotus seed is comparable to some 5th grade elixirs, making it a very precious item. After finishing everything, Lin Feng placed the rosette on the ground, jumped on it, sat cross-legged, and then began to practice. He has now vaguely felt the feeling of a 4-star fighting master. Originally, he was sure to be promoted to a 4-star fighting master in about half a month. Now that he has experienced the help of this rosette, he is confident that he will be able to break through in no more than a week. While Lin Feng was practicing, on the other side, Hai Budong flew to Jiama capital in a somewhat embarrassed manner. At this time, he was constantly cursing the old monster of the Gama royal family in his heart. As soon as they met, the old guy gave him such a big blow. if Heibadong hadn't been sealed away for decades, he would definitely be a strong man at the peak of Dou Huang by now. Would he be reduced to such a starting point? Huh. There's a Dou Huang fighting ahead. Feeling the fluctuation of fighting energy coming from the front, Heibadong came back to his senses. After hesitating for a moment, he flew towards the direction of the battle. Yao Chen controlled Xiao Yan's body and displayed fighting power at the level of a fighting king. Baji collapsed, thought there was a white flame attached to the fist, which burned the sleeves of the black robe directly, and quickly struck a 5th-level peak monster in the face. Boom! Thought the 5th-level magical beast fainted and fell to the ground with an explosion. Yao Chen subconsciously touched his chin, came to the side of the monster, controlled Xiao Yan's arm and placed it on the monster's abdomen. His mind sank into the body of the monster, and with a strong tug, a piece of beast fire was forcibly pulled out. The moment the flame appeared, the aura of the magical beast suddenly withered. From the looks of it, he was hurt a lot. Teacher, is this the beast fire that you said can allow me to evolve my burning Jew? Xiao Yan asked in surprise when he saw Yao Chen actually pulling out a ball of flame from the monster. This is the first time in his life that he knows that there is fire in the body of a monster. Moreover, Xiao Yan could also feel the blazing heat emanating from it. The power of this beast fire was not low. Yes, this is beast fire. Although its power cannot be compared with the strange fire, it should be able to evolve your burning technique. Speaking of the latter part, Yao Chen's tone was also mixed with a trace of uncertainty. After all, he had never practiced this weird technique before. Moreover, this ball of beast fire is only the beast fire in the body of a 5th-level peak magic beast. Speaking of burning Jew, Xiao Yan was also gritting his teeth. When he went to Tagore Desert before, he was full of expectations. After arriving with Yao Chen, they sneaked into the snake tribe. After spending some effort, I caught a black snake man at the fighting king level. After using some tricks, I learned from him that the strange fire had been taken away by the Sky Snake Mansion and his party. However, the kidnapping behavior of their master and apprentice completely angered the snake people. In the end, it also attracted 4 peak Dou Huang warriors from the snake tribe, leaving the 2 of them, master and disciple, to flee in confusion. This is thanks to those strong men who don't want to take action easily because they don't have long lifespan. Otherwise, the master and apprentice would not be able to escape so easily. After all this trouble, there was only one piece of news about strange fire. Nothing else was found. So much time wasted, thinking that the strange fire was in the Heavenly Snake Mansion. Xiao Yan asked, Teacher, should we go to the Heavenly Snake Mansion to grab the strange fire? You want to die? Go to the Heavenly Snake Mansion to grab the strange fire. Do you know about them? Hearing Xiao Yan's unreasonable words, Yao Chen said angrily. I haven't heard of the Snake Mansion that day, but teacher, you now have fighting power at the level of a Dou Huang. Let's sneak in secretly and take it away. No one will know. After hearing what Yao Chen said just now, Xiao Yan knew that the Snake Mansion was not simple that day, but thinking about Fenju's disgusting low-level Huang level initial level, he still felt a little unwilling to give up.